Alright, BobalosRex here. And we're reacting to the War Within Alpha WoWCast. I didn't get in, but all the people that got in are blasting all the hype. And I'm excited. So, over the next few days, I'm going to be going over everything myself. I'm sad I didn't get early access, but I ain't a big time. So, it is what it is. I just hope I get invited to the alpha as soon as possible so I can get my hands on it and get my opinions on it because, we're all different. We all play differently, so. I'm trying to get the sound right. So bear with me.
Hey everyone, welcome to WoWCast. Today we're going to talk about The War Within, which alpha starts soon. I have two special guests with me today. Please introduce yourselves.
Apparently it already started.
Game director on WoW.
I'm Tina, associate art director on WoW.
Thank you guys so much for joining me today.
It had to start this
Before we
week,
talk
so
about
we knew.
alpha, what can you summarize about The War Within, Ian?
Well, so The War Within, of course, it is the 10th expansion to well-known video game World of Warcraft. But even, I think, more special to us,
God,
it's the
so
beginning of the World Soul Saga. It's the beginning of probably the most ambitious story we've ever tried to tell.
You know what? I am going to be pausing. If you want to watch this yourself, I'll link the webpage that I got this from because we're going to read the page. This is the statue that comes with the collector's edition. I ordered it. Hopefully it gets here fine.
So as all expansions do, it kicks off with a journey to a new place. But really, this is going to be beginning to set the stage and establish the stakes for a conflict that threatens not just ourselves and our families and those we hold dear, but the very world that we call home, the very world beneath our feet that's been home to all of our adventures. And if we don't win this one, nothing else matters.
So this character has been everywhere for The War Within. Xelatath. She's purple, she's amazing. Can you tell us more about her?
Yeah, Xelatath is one of our key villains of the World Soul Saga. The expansion is, part of it is this journey, delving deeper, find Xelatath and her allies. And the inspiration for her design from an art side was really based on the priest artifact weapon that she had been trapped in for so long. So if you look at her armor, like all the motifs of her belt, her shoulders, really take inspiration from that design. Even the runes on her cheeks, those are a homage to N'Zoth, who freed her from the dagger.
Knifeu.
So if later on in War Within you find yourself, wiping to a raid somewhere, just blame the Shadow Priests for not just putting the knife down, walk away from the talking dagger, and we wouldn't be here.
True! Literally, any Shadow Priest you can point at and be like, you could have left the thing there, right? Did we really need y'all's DPS during Legion? Maybe the first part, but you know what?
Are there any other familiar faces that we can recognize?
Blink
Some
Tally, yes,
of the key heroes of our story are Illyria and
He's gonna have to
Anduin.
be a boss. We gotta kill
So
this
these
character.
two,
They're evil.
they're running a bit, right, from some of the wounds of their past, but in the end, they're going to find hope and redemption. So, Illyria, we've seen her new design that really reflects the duality of her character. And Anduin, we saw him in our cinematic, and he just looks, a little more haggard. He's
He
been
got
through a lot
fucked up,
lately.
man.
He grew his beard.
Yeah,
He's working on it.
Yeah,
He's
the
having a
name The War
time.
Within is one that has a couple of layers to it. Right? Obviously, we're literally delving beneath the surface of Azeroth and going to be battling within our world. But this is also a story that involves a lot of inner turmoil and inner conflict. And Anduin is probably the most torn of any of our cast of heroes.
FYI, I also have a Shadow Priest that went evil, so we're all have anyone who's played a priest is at fault. Okay.
Given what he went through in the Shadowlands, and his journey into the darkness as he seeks to rediscover his own light is a big part of the narrative arc.
And with The War Within, there's new zones. Can we talk about what
my
our
God,
new
it's
zones
so
are going to
good.
be?
The continent as a whole that begins on the surface and extends beneath the earth, right, we're calling Kazalgar. This is an ancient home to the Earthen. It's actually
Kazalgar.
just off the west coast of Pandaria, about between Pandaria and Kalimdor. Just a couple hundred nautical miles away from a certain sword that's sticking out of the southern end of Kalimdor. But yes, home to 4 zones with amazing, varied settings.
Yeah, so our first zone, the Isle of Dorn. This is basically, you'll find an isolated group of Earthen there, and so they have their...
Also, I mean, it is reacting to this video. They're spoiling some stuff, so spoilers. If you don't want any spoilers.
Awesome city, Dornogal, which we're very excited for players to check out. That'll be the hub in the end. The second zone is the Ringing Deeps, so the evocative of like mine picks, industry,
oh my God,
and so this is the heart of Earthen industry. But it's not all just lava and fire. It's mixed with these beautiful caverns, cenotes with light and water coming in, creating these lush spaces for the players to enjoy.
That's gonna be cool.
We go to Halifal.
So as far as I'm aware, you got cenotes in the Amazon. They're like big holes. So it looks like we're going to have the top zone, the main way to get down in, but also it looks like from the Ringing Deeps, we're going to be able to get in from the top through these cenotes, which is cool.
Is where we really wanted to break expectations. Right, like this one, this is Arathi, airships.
Right, underground airships, right? The first thing you'd naturally think of when you're going under the surface. How are they going to get around? Well, airships, of course.
Of course.
And then our final zone is Ashkahet. So this is the heart of the Nerubian Empire.
And I was fine with Zaralek. It wasn't like the best zone, but I liked what it was. These look much more open than Zaralek, so I don't think the people are going to have an issue with this. But I'm fine with the underground zones. I hope we don't have that weird boulder loading issue, dude.
This is where we'll finally be able to see the Nerubian.
If you don't know what boulder I'm talking about in regards to Zaralek and zoning into Zaralek, good for you. But for anyone who does, that boulder is the worst.
And all of their strength and glory, like with the height of their civilization.
I think that we'll get into the details of Alpha later, but everyone's journey is going to start in the Isle of Dorn, but I really can't wait until we get to Halifal in our testing. I think Tina mentioned that this crystal, it is such a striking visual that dominates the zone. Imagine in this place deep within the earth, a radiant crystal of light, and the way, as it illuminates the surroundings, that actually plays with the environment and some of the spawns and how the world around it reacts to it. I think when we set out to create this underground space, we knew that one of the risks was that it could feel oppressive, that people didn't want to feel
they all look great.
Claustrophobia of you're always in caves. Halifal really from the outset was built to be a place where, honestly, unless you fly all the way up to check out the ceiling above you, it doesn't feel underground. It feels like you could be outdoors in some vast, welcoming area it's incredibly epic.
Oh my God, it is epic.
When we arrive to the Isle of Dorn, what's the first thing we'll see?
Well, so you're going to see something a bit different in Alpha from when the expansion goes live. There is an expansion intro experience that is not currently being tested. It's something that has some, cool narrative elements that we want players to all experience together.
I've seen some of
later in the year when War Within launches. But players will spawn in the Alpha on the Isle of Dorn, surrounded by some debris that will look pretty familiar and pretty distinctive.
All right, they showing it.
Is the scars of an initial battle that seems like it didn't end so well. And the beginning of our journey, as with many expansions, is a bit of a mystery, a bit of an investigation of arriving
Here's
in
the
a
thing.
land, having this threat.
I had a theory about some cities in The Last Titan. At first, I was like, that gets rid of my theory. But then I'm like, no. We can rebuild it. We could rebuild it.
Threat that we face.
Be rebuilt.
These visions, these whispers that heroes around Azeroth have been hearing in recent months, but trying to understand the nature of the threat we face, how we're going to stop it, and our journey begins on the doorstep.
I like these
ancient earthen people who are going to begin, helping us figure out where to go next.
They're going to become our next allied race too, right?
Once we earn their trust, that's for sure.
Is there any other NPCs that we're going to be familiar with?
Yeah, there are going to be some characters that we haven't seen in World of Warcraft in a while, but will be, part of this story. That's because of their, dwarven heritage, and Magni. He hears the radiant song. He brings some of his family members along. Moira, who is leader of the Dark Iron Dwarves and heir to Ironforge.
Dude, her armor's
She'll be here with her son, Dagran, who is now a young adult. Dagran, the last time we saw him in game, he was this pretty generic-looking dwarven baby.
Oh, he was generic. He was some polygon shit.
The Dark Iron heritage is starting to show more in his appearance, along with his personality. So he has a bunch of these scrolls and books, like really showing that he has a very scholarly nature.
I think one of the fun aspects of this world building and narrative in WoW is we have this vast array of characters and champions and heroes and backup characters. And whenever we figure out where we're going, what the next natural location is, what the story elements are, the first question we ask is, who needs to be here? Who does it make sense to have answer this call, want to step forward? Just as when we were dealing with the Green Dragonflight or the Emerald Dream or the like, okay, this is time for Malfurion and Tyrande to step forward. Now that we're going to this ancestral homeland of the Earthen with this
Malfurion had to sleep
to the dwarven legacy of Azeroth, this is a time for our dwarves
to
take center stage.
All right, so let's talk about the 8 new dungeons in the War Within. What are your guys' favorites or the notable ones you want to talk about?
Well, so one that's fun to talk about is actually probably the first dungeon the players are going to see in their journeys, and it's going to be tested early on in the alpha. This is the Rookery dungeon in the Isle of Dorn. The Rookery is the place where the Storm Griffins were raised and trained by the ancient Earthen over the centuries. Dwarves and Griffins go hand in hand, and the Earthen have a legacy of Storm Riders that we got to see a little sneak peek of. If you got the War Within Heroic Edition, you might have been flying around on that guy. There's plenty more where that came from in the Isle of Dorn. And so this dungeon, of course, is not all peaceful. It's been overrun by a group of corrupted Earthen known as the Skardan. And we're going to be beginning to understand where they came from and what their nature is as we fight through it.
They're bad.
But one cool thing about this dungeon is that it's actually part of the main campaign as you play through Isle of Dorn. I know some people are instantly saying, wait a minute, I don't like doing dungeons, I just like solo questing, that's terrible. Well, fortunately, in 10.2.5,
dungeon,
we introduced this feature called Follower Dungeons. And we're really happy to bring that to the level up dungeons in War Within right from the outset, so that you can go in solo with NPC allies as you play through the dungeon if that's what you prefer. Easy. Or, of course, you can just queue up with with friends or random group mates through the group finder. But what this lets us do is, where appropriate, we can really have the story flow directly through dungeons in a way that we couldn't in the past, in ways that at times was frankly awkward, because sometimes major villains die in dungeons. Dungeons are places of great importance in a zone, but we couldn't really tie them directly into the questing because we didn't want to create an obstacle for players who really just prefer to keep playing solo.
Tina, is there anything that you like?
One of my favorites is in
That is awesome.
So
it is really awesome they can do that now with follower dungeons. I'm excited about that because y'all know me. Day one, I'm blasting. I love just doing the quests because you got to do all the quests to get that done. It'll be nice. You're doing the quests, you get to the dungeon part, you're like, all right, follower up, hit the dungeon you need. I don't want to hit random queue. You're incentivized to random queue for the bonus experience and hope you get the dungeon you want. Nope, follower dungeon, let's just knock it out. Bada boom. Continue the story. And this will be great for the people that have been missing dungeon stories, now getting to see them through follower dungeons in context, right? My stepdad, now seeing follower dungeon, or being able to do follower dungeons, see that story. It would have been nice if he had been able to see it when it was happening according to the game.
Of the Sacred Flame, and it's this Erethdor monastery. So one of the coolest parts is the final boss room. There's this giant window that frames the crystal that is embedded in the ceiling of Hollow Fall. And so I love, the beauty of the room, as well as just how it ties in with the narrative of the story as a whole. And another really cool one, it's the City of Threads. So this one is underneath the Nerubian city proper. And so it's really interesting to see the ancient...
The dungeon portal was on the ground. What the fuck?
Civilization that the newer civilization was built on top of. And just to
These
think about the
layers
of Nerubian history that, is in this land.
Is it that the ancient...
Turn on the crab mode.
Civilization back in, Lich King?
Even far before that.
It's even farther before that?
Yeah, the Nerubians, I think, we might think of them as monstrous or arachnid. They are one of the great powers, one of the great advanced civilizations of Azeroth, right up there with the elves and trolls and the others that helped shape the course of the world's history. We've only really seen hints of them, going back to Wrath. If you ran the Azjol, Nerub, or Ankahet dungeons, you could see their buildings off in the background. But they were a civilization that at its height rivaled the High Elves and the Nightborn on the surface.
That's insane.
They were able to go toe-to-toe with the Lich King's armies and win until the Old Gods and their forces on another flank eventually led to the Nerubians being overwhelmed. But really being able to explore what they're all about is one of the things we're most
okay, so he is specifically talking about the Nerubian developed after the Akir, which is interesting because I mean, we've kind of learned that the other tribes of the Akir, the Mantid and the Kuraj, stayed Old God loyal. The Nerubians were like, nah. We took the L with y'all. We're done. We're doing our own thing. We're not messing with those trolls again. We're not messing with them trolls again. They beat our ass. We're done. We got all this free real estate in the ground. Okay? That's what we doing. And then they took an L to the Lich King because they were like, they had some dwarf qualities. We're like, let's dig deep. Oh, Yogg's back. And then the Lich King, they just were like, nah. Boop.
Well, then.
One of the things we're excited to bring is an arachnophobia filter, if you will. For all of you out there who could never, go to that spider section in Nax, you'll be able to turn on an arachnophobia filter and all spider beasts will turn into crabs. So very pumped about that.
Yeah, it actually looks, it works way better than you might think just hearing that sentence. I can't wait for players to be able to jump in, turn it on, and hopefully feel more comfortable in parts of our world. This is something that when we announced the
I think it's cool. I ain't gonna be using it, but it's crab mode
of War Within at BlizzCon. We heard trepidation from portions of our community who love WoW, but were worried they weren't going to be able to experience it. Honestly, prior to that, it's something we heard concerns about from within our own team, where there are, people who genuinely felt uncomfortable with these elements of the game that we were building together. And so we set out to try to find a solution that would still, preserve the fidelity of the game, but really make it more approachable, more accessible to everyone.
So speaking of the Nerubians, once you reach level 80,
and it's interesting because there's other fears like heights. You can kind of try to avoid it. I'm trying to think of other big ones. The holes one. The people afraid of the holes, tryptophobia or whatever it's called. I wonder which other big ones would need modes.
New raid, Nerbo Palace. Is there anything you want to speak about that?
Yeah, this raid is epic in so many ways. One of the coolest parts is there's this beautiful showpiece that is just in front of the Queen's Palace. It represents the Nerubian race, and it just shows how highly Queen Ansrek thinks of her people and herself. This raid will get, one of the sections of the raid will get to check out her innermost sanctum. This is where, only VIPs for the Nerubians get to go, and you really get to explore the dark elegance of her palace.
I think, again, as we were just saying, like the Nerubians, we need to remember they're an advanced race, very, just this epic civilization. I think there's some parallels probably to going back to the Nightborn in Suramar and what going into that city and that palace felt like. We really want to show the sophistication here. This is not a monstrous supervillain lair. This is, a superpower of Azeroth that we find ourselves, facing off against. But yeah, the Queen Ansrek encounter that Tina mentioned.
He is hyping up the Nerubians so well. Any troll rolling up like, nah, advanced sim. I want to show them as advanced. Ooh. Troll's like, we found your spider hole. It's time.
Of sort of the initial season, the initial raid tier. The encounter team is hard at work on this one. I can't wait to see it tested later on in beta. This is, the whole room is really purpose built to showcase some vertical elements, and it's just an incredible set piece. But we want to, as always, integrate the environment wherever possible into our encounters, so you're facing off against both, a very powerful magical user, but also someone who is arachnid in nature. And how do we kind of deliver parts of the fantasy of, scaling a web while locked in combat
Is
against
she the
the
queen?
Those are the things that we're
She the
currently
final
exploring.
boss?
Can't wait to see that up for testing.
Does
So
that
it's
mean we
like
get tier
Elasan,
sets again?
but final boss.
Certainly. I think last time we tried taking them away, I recall torches and pitchforks in the street. New tier means new tier sets.
Yo!
And these days, unlike years and years ago when you had to raid in order to get the tier set, now you can get them from a wide array of activities, whether you're a raider, Mythic Plus player, or an outdoor world player, which includes now delves.
Yes.
Yeah, delves. Let's start talking
Solo
about
players rising up.
Delves are one of the major new features in War Within, and I think we're really excited to offer a more structured, progression-oriented extension of the outdoor world gameplay that we know is the favorite of so many of our players.
I'm excited for delves
And
so much.
delves are these seamless experiences integrated into all of our zones, where you can have these localized, varied adventures alongside in the first season, Bran Bronzebeard, either on your own or with friends. And finally, get a shot at some endgame epic rewards just through an extension of the outdoor world ecosystem.
Yeah, we'll be able to get it from the Great Vault, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
super
the new
exciting.
vault.
So one of our goals with
that
building
looks
delves was we really wanted the player to just
That
feel
looks
like they
good.
adventured, came across a place, and could just, go in and see what's inside. When you walk up to the delve, there's this, dark, misty door, and you click on it, and then it just
fog
disappears,
door.
and you just walk into your own personal delve instance. So very excited about that.
I mean, players are going to have that first
I'm
experience
excited.
on the Isle of Dorne early in the alpha. The first delve they're likely to encounter is Earthcrawl Mines. You're going to
getting excited.
encounter your good friend Bran Bronzebeard outside an
They had to make it a fog door. Yes.
ancient earthen mine that has been overrun with Nerubians who are
excited.
burrowing up from the depths. Bran will ask you if you want him to outfit himself as a healer or as a damage dealer to help support you. And you'll venture in and have your very first delve experience. You'll be able to choose whether you want to do it on Tier 1 or Tier 2 difficulty. Tier 1 is kind of the default. This is for everyone experience. Tier 2 is for those who want to opt into a bit more of a challenge because that's what they enjoy. There will be higher tiers that can be unlocked at max level as part of the end game and seasonal progression.
4 tiers.
We really just can't wait to get player feedback from the outset, really all through.
I don't know if it's 4
on this new
tiers. I'm just
system,
guessing,
on,
like
how it
4.
is or isn't working for you, and whether we can really
Maybe
meet
5.
everyone's expectations from people who just want a casual romp as an extension of their outdoor world experience to those who want a solo progression challenge that they can really strive to overcome.
And the way it made it seem, so there's 1 and 2, and then there's more at cap. And that would get you to a heroic vault gear.
Feedback is going to really help shape how this evolves, but we're so excited about delves as a central part of War Within.
Yeah, I'm excited that we're going to be able to just jump in and go solo with Bran, or you can have friends, but also just get rewards in that way, especially the tier sets with the catalyst,
Exactly.
and then that really cool mechanical mount.
Yeah, so this is going to
The
be kind of
Delve
an introduction
KSM.
to sort of the Delves end game. As you hit max level,
Delve
as you hit 80
Stone Master.
and start to get a sense of the Delves ecosystem, right at the start of that, we're going to give you this epic customizable mount, kind of the successor to the customizable drakes you had in Dragon Isles, where you'll be able to, through
Yeah,
doing
at the
Delves,
start.
earn a variety of different customizations and attachments that you can mix and match to really create your own personalized flying mount.
So you actually get it
does
early.
This mechanical mount have dynamic flying?
This is one of the big questions we had moving on from
Oh my
Dragon
God.
Flight. We had the question of like,
Do
well,
barrel roll.
okay, dragon riding is amazing. We can't get rid of this. But how is this going to work alongside of the hundreds of mounts that we already have in players'
There we go.
collections? And how, from a design perspective, how do we navigate a world where some mounts can fly in this awesome way and others can only do the old
Look at
quote-unquote
them
static
all.
flight? Fortunately, I think our art team was able to work out an amazing solution for us.
Dude,
We
that
were
bee looks
very
legit.
excited to be able to
4
make
bees.
pretty much all mounts be able to dynamically fly. So even Nimron's head in, we figured it out.
Oh
we
my
made
God.
it work. So
I'm really excited to see Nimron's head going like super fast. Another feature coming in the War Within that I'm really excited about, as well as a lot of other people.
Oh, here
is
we go,
warbands.
warbands.
Yeah, warbands, I mean, again, I think as I summarized it at BlizzCon,
Listen, I was wrong about something with warbands, but the only reason I was wrong is because I didn't want to tell people to farm stuff when it may not be the
it's
case.
just account-wide everything, almost.
So
everything.
this was pessimistic,
This-
Bobby.
Players increasingly play multiple characters.
We'll
This is something
see
we've
here.
heard loud and clear, that the game needs to be more alt-friendly. The players want to be able to choose where they spend their time across their different characters instead of feeling like they have to reprogress everything individually. And so, yeah, the Warband it is your account in its entirety. It is your collection of champions, whether they're Horde or Alliance, regardless of what realm they're on, they're all part of the same Warband, which gives access to various shared progression systems.
And then you get to see all of your favorites on,
cool.
one screen together. So in our new UI, we'll have warbands, and you'll be able to move 4 up into that space and see them all hanging out around a campfire.
Is that on the
That's
character
awesome.
select screen?
Yeah, the character select screen.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's going to be totally different than what we're used to logging in.
Exactly. Yes, you'll know, like, this is a completely different world. It's a completely.
I
different
need
world
alpha.
from
Give me
World of
it.
Warcraft.
Give
What we
me
showed off at
it,
BlizzCon
let
was just
me
actually
in.
a UI mock-up, but we're excited to see people react to the real thing. And really, as with everything else, warbands are a foundation. This is a system that we want to build the next generations of World of Warcraft on. In 2004, WoW launched with everything character-based. In 2024, WoW is going to shift to everything being account-based.
Yes.
And we can't wait to hear feedback about what other areas we can expand upon here, and that's going to shape not just War Within, but later updates and expansions. And we're just, just excited about this platform
is so
that
good.
better reflects the way our players are looking to play World of Warcraft today.
You can't forget about PvP. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So we have a new battleground.
Yo! They not forgetting about PvP. Holy shit! Oh my god! A new battleground? How long has it been since the Seething Shore? Yo! That was a BFA pre-patch. Oh my god! Here we go! I ain't even a PvPer, but there it is, finally. The Deep Hall.
Called the Deep Hall. This one is earthen themed. It's a bit of a mashup between Silver Shard Mines and Arathi Basin. So, hold some points, push some carts.
Alright.
We're really excited to see how players navigate around this one.
Yeah, and in terms of how players are interacting with it, there is an overhaul to our rated battleground system that is coming with War Within. People who've been paying attention over the course of Dragonflight have checked
RBG
out
queues.
Battleground Blitz,
Solo
our
queues.
brawl that was testing out a 8v8 solo queue rated battleground format. We're happy to move to that as a default for how rated battlegrounds are going to work going forward. I think we're really excited to make that battleground experience.
All right.
Personally, I've always felt is the best part of WoW PvP. The larger scale, more cooperative,
Yes.
objective-based,
I like battlegrounds more than
collaborative,
arenas.
competitive setting as opposed to the deathmatch
Maybe I'm
style
back.
arena. So, to make that more accessible to everyone.
Maybe
who
I'm back in.
Loves battlegrounds, loves PvP. We know, it's a bit overdue, honestly, us adding a new battleground map into the rotation.
They know.
And we're excited to do more of this going forward. We're excited to have a new framework that can make battlegrounds more central to the end game rewarding part
There it
of
is.
PvP. And yeah, this is just the beginning of a new
Battlegrounds are back.
Another feature in the War Within is
Let's
hero
fucking
towns.
go.
We've been having a lot of articles talking about them. What are some of the other things that we can expect with the hero talents coming forward?
Well, I can say there's going to be no more blogs and articles releasing hero talents because they'll be there for you to jump in and play. And I think that's the most
right.
exciting thing. We're so grateful
Let
to
me
the
in
community
then.
for all of the feedback and discussion.
Let me
recent
jump in
months,
and
going
play.
back to the first blog in December. This really helped us shape this central feature of how people's
I
class
just need a
games
jail
are
cell
going
to
to
pop
evolve.
up in front of me like, let me
You're going to
in!
see hero talents that you haven't yet seen for the trees that we haven't discussed previously. And for many of the ones that we have released, you'll log in and see changes that are directly shaped by your feedback.
Oh my god, I
What we
love
heard
that.
Loud and clear in some cases
Look.
about what was and wasn't exciting.
Okay, we're going to be
We've
looking this
committed to
all
have as
over
many of
tonight.
these playable right from the outset as possible. We will have 100%
Look
of
at
the
that!
talent trees available and playable not long into alpha. And then the rest of the journey is going to be about iteration, tuning, and really just dialing it all in to make the polished experience that everyone is excited about.
So
my
what are we
God.
doing with professions in the War Within?
I think when
Ooh.
we really overhauled professions in Dragonflight, we saw that as a
Let's see.
kind of a permanent shift in how professions were going to work going forward. So you can expect, new recipes, different enchants, but the same fundamental sort of progression and structure two professions that you saw in Dragonflight.
Okay.
One big piece of
I did like
feedback that we
Dragonflight
heard
ones.
throughout Dragonflight, though, was a bit of frustration with the work order system from crafters who were just looking to complete quests, looking to skill up, but found themselves competing and often racing to grab work orders with their fellow crafters. So what we're excited to offer is a...
I wonder if this is going to be integrated into that system that we saw in the Emerald Dream, where you have shipments that you put materials into. But let's actually see
baseline availability of basically NPC crafting orders. So that could be Earthen in Isle of Dorn who need a hammer made or need a helmet made, and they're constantly putting their work orders up onto the market, so there's always something for you to grab. The player ones will still be more lucrative, but there should always be that baseline availability if you just want to skill up, you just want to practice your trade skill. And there's also some cool potential for narrative tie-ins, the ability to have quests that now can point you towards that system.
I wonder if we'll be able to make gold doing it.
So with Dragonflight and the profession overhaul, there was also a UI overhaul. Is there anything we're going to see with the War Within?
Yeah, so the UI overhaul, it's basically a continued improvements that we want to make over time. One of the things that I'm very excited about is the quest bank overhaul. So we're going to have a bunch of new icons that will make what type of quest it is much more clear.
Oh, I
one
like
of the
the
new
new
ones that you'll see is one that's like we consider an important one. These aren't campaign, but they're pretty important to your character. For instance, some that must-do ones for your profession, or ones where you're going to unlock the revival catalyst.
Yeah, I think as we've leaned more and more into outdoor world gameplay and varied gameplay there, different types of public events over the course of Dragonflight, honestly, we reached a point about halfway through Dragonflight where we just took a look at our map and kind of recoiled in horror at the number of different icons that were there. And it was just a kind of icon soup situation that made us say, like, it's kind of, at this point, we've advanced far past the world of, oh, you just have some daily quests or world quests here. We need a clearer visual language. And so really excited to just evolve that central interface that players use to log in and see what there is to do in WoW on a given day.
So that covers the
All
War
events
Within,
need unique
and the
icons.
alpha is starting extremely soon.
Pretty much working on getting it stood up as we speak, as we sit here right now. And yeah, so the way this is going to work is pretty similar to the Dragonflight Alpha for those who followed that, where really each week, each new build that we release, we're focusing on a different piece of War Within to concentrate player feedback and our attention to just really get all that feedback in and maximize the quality. So we're going to start off zone by zone, level band by level band. This first week is going to be the Isle of Dorn, 70 to 73 or so, the dungeon and delves there, as well as universal systems like hero talents. With successive alpha builds, we'll move on to other zones, other portions of War Within, inviting more waves of people. If you haven't gone to the website to opt in yet, that's a great reminder to do so. We, really pick from, there's no secret to it. We're just randomly pulling lots of folks in and hope to get, by the end of this, countless people into our testing. Once we've gotten through all of those rounds of focus testing, we'll move into our beta phase, which really is an end-to-end holistic test of War Within from 70 all the way to 80 and the end game and beyond. And throughout, feedback, bug reports, suggestions, all of this is instrumental to helping turn what we have now into the finished product that we want to be the best it possibly can be for all
I'll be giving my feedback.
Thank you so much for joining me for the War Within.
And thank you for joining us for this. Really, this is one of the most exciting times ever for the development team. When we get to
for the alpha access you're going to give me.
This world that we've been building in the last few years. So can't wait to see you in the alpha. Can't wait to
hear
your feedback.
Get me in.
I'm looking forward to everyone checking out the alpha. Thank you so much.
See you guys in the alpha.
Yes, I want to be seen in the alpha. Let me in. Just me every time they say alpha. Let me in. That is me. Alright, let's read this post. Oh, I got nothing behind it. I don't even have the game loaded up. Here, I'll load them in a second. So, let's read through the post here. Alright. The alpha test is right around the corner. We look forward to moving into the next phase of development. Here, actually I can do this. I don't remember how I was doing it. Yesterday. There we go. Journey through never before seen. Defend Azeroth from the shadows below. Journey through never before seen subterranean worlds filled with wonders and lurking perils. Down to the dark depths of the Nerubian Empire, where the malicious harbinger of the void, Xal'atath, is gathering arachnid forces to bring Azeroth to its knees. Freed long ago of the black blade that once bound her. Hold on, I gotta put these as a charger. Hopefully the audio is good though. Should be fine. She is now the harbinger of a new era of the void's dark machinations. Her message is clear. The Black Empire has fallen. The old gods are dead, and their ancient blood runs deep within the cracks of the world. Are they though? We, the heroes of Azeroth, destroyed them, and the Harbinger watched all along. While the Black Empire has failed, Xal'atath seeks to set in motion the rise of a new dark legacy. One that knows our strengths and will seek to test them against a terrible power. The Nerubians of Azj-Kahet. Xal'atath has conscripted the Nerubian king and Surrak, whatever her name is, and offered her people a new future, in which they would rise from their isolation and become a mighty kingdom once again. We will not find the Nerubian soldiers of the Lich King here, but a mighty stronghold of Nerubians as they once were, deadly survivors of the mythic wars that have played out repeatedly over thousands of years. Yeah, the trolls beating their ass. In return for their loyalty, Xal'atath has granted the Nerubians the means of dark evolution that will turn the Nerubian into a new kind of ferocious, terrifying soldiers. Akir 2.0. Our heroes. Several of Azeroth's greatest heroes will rise to the call of the Radiant Song. That's what they're calling the Azeroth speaking to people, the Radiant Song. And many will face their own unique challenges along the way. Anduin Wrynn, having survived his ordeal with domination. Yeah, the domination magic. He will grapple with his relationship with the holy light that he no longer feels worthy of. Thrall, he is seeking a connection to the vision spreading across the world and working to find his new place within the Horde. Magni Bronzebeard, long the speaker of Azeroth, he will confront the heavy weight of that responsibility once and for all. Illyria Windrunner, her journey... Is Magni gonna die? Oh my god, I'm worried about everyone right now after some stuff I've seen. I'm worried about everybody right now. Look at... Okay, Anduin. 2 line. Thrall, 1 line. Magni, 1 line. Illyria, like 4. I mean, I know it's not 4 sentences, but it took 4 lines. Illyria, her journey will be central to the events and themes with War Within. Yeah, I wonder if her journey will be central to the War Within. She, as a Void Hunter, must use all of her capabilities to hunt down Xal'atath while being torn between her own nature and the maddening call of the Void to which she is attuned. Along this adventure, she will have a unique rivalry with Xal'atath, whose twists and turns will come to define the nature of this new conflict. Oh. This chapter is only the beginning of the saga. Oh my god. I'm excited. I'm so excited for everything. I got my wild theories too. Some are going to be right, some are going to be wrong. It is what it is. Khazalgar, designated sector AR 934. Beneath the surface of Azeroth, an expansive world exists fraught with danger and waiting to be explored. The zones of Khazalgar. Oh, I can't click it. The Isle of Dorn. Discover the land of Khazalgar off the western shores of Pandaria and home to the Earthen. Their capital city, Dornogal, will become the new meeting grounds for the Horde and Alliance. It's just like the Southern Sea area where Pandaria and this is. Just misty, unexplored. The ringing deeps. The gigantic cavern serves as home of the machine speakers, earthen who maintain the gigantic Titan machines of old. We're gonna get more Titan lore and conspiracies. Alright, Hollowfall, lit by a massive crystal at its center. The bright underground zone is home to the Arathi, who are engaged in a continuing battle against the Nerubians. Good thing they showed up. Otherwise, the Nerubians would have been running all over this place. And clearly, the Nerubians are... I think there's going to be a rebel if this is Suramar 2.0, there's going to be a rebel faction, I feel. Ash-Kahet, the pinnacle of Nerubian society, where Xal'atath, Harbinger of the Void, has been gathering and mutating Nerubian forces to create an unstoppable army. For players who are concerned about entering into a space filled with spiders, there will be an arachnophobia filter that can be turned on, which will convert spider creatures into crabs. Good. Good for them. Dude, this looks cool. This looks so cool. I can't wait to, like, be walking across this and see how this feels. I know we're probably going to be dragon riding all over too, but oh my god, big chandelier. Meet the Earthen. What's up? We met Titanforge Earthen before in Ulduar and other places, but this society of Earthen has been isolated within Khazalgar for a long while and have developed their own manners and customs. Visually, they are a bit larger and gem-encrusted. It's up to the heroes of Azeroth to aid the Earthen and find a way to unite them once more and replenish their numbers. Earthen is a new allied race. Okay, so the racials have been pulled up. They eat rocks. It's so cool. Spoiler, they eat rocks. I'm not saying any else except for they eat rocks. Earthen will also unlock as a playable race, replenishing the culture's dwindling numbers by either joining the Horde or the Alliance. Players will be able to choose either faction to begin their journey. There are many customizations that will be coming for these Earthen, including different gem incrustations, beards for all body types, skin colorizations, and more. Dungeons. Similar to the launch of previous expansion, there will be 4 level up dungeons and 4 max level dungeons that are available in each of the 4 new zones. The Rookery we saw a little bit of, the Stone Vault, Priory of the Sacred Flame, which we saw a little bit of, and the City of Threads, which we saw a little bit of. Then at max level we got Cinderberg Meadery, Dark Flame Clef, the Dawnbringer, and then Old City. Alright, so top zone, middle zone, Hollowfall, Nerubian. If you don't want to use Dungeon Finder to take part in dungeons with other players, you can continue the campaign story with follower dungeons, which will be available to play through in all level up dungeons. Awesome. Nurubar Palace Raid Dungeon. The Nurubar Palace Raid Dungeon will offer 8 boss encounters located in Ash-Kahet or Zolt. In the culmination of the story we see play out involving the machinations of the Nerubian Empire and Queen Asarek's collaboration with Xal'atath. Players can expect new tier rewards for their valiant efforts. New feature delves. Deep beneath the surface lies treasure vaults waiting to be discovered. Explore these world instances solo or with up to 4 friends along with an NPC companion to defeat bosses and gain epic endgame loot. Delves. New mechanical mount reward. Mix and match customizations to make your new mount your own. I think that's great. So you unlock it early and then you get customizations for it. Warbands. Expand the potential of your alternate characters with account-wide progression across your family of characters on your Battle.net account. Share your Warband bank access. War Within Renown, achievements, collections, more. Visit our latest article to learn more about warbands. Okay. Real quick thing I was talking about early on. If you have, okay, so say I'm playing a mage right now and I am running an old raid and I get some plate. Hold on to it in the bank. I know early on I said not to do that. I didn't say not to do it. I said I wasn't going to because you're assuming Blizzard will be retroactive. I was being a doom. I would say, in my assessment of it, I didn't expect them to be retroactive, but it does seem it is going to be retroactive. So, if you want to hoard items, hoard items. If you've been hoarding items, all right, you did good. I just didn't think they were going to do that, and that's why I didn't want people to go out of their way to go do that. But now's the time. They've confirmed it. Now if you want to start collecting, start hoarding it. If you're just going to wait, then you can wait. I've been waiting to farm old raids till the new stuff. Because I just don't want to waste all that bank space. Personally. But yeah. So go ahead and start getting gear and putting it away if you want. Hero talents. Rise to new heights of power with new hero talents. Each class specialization has access to 2 choices of self-contained hero talent trees inspired by iconic Warcraft universe archetypes. Revisit our previous hero talent previews to get a glimpse of what's in development. Alright, so there's some that I need to look over the new ones. But they're going to be in the... I think in the Wowhead thing. So I'm going to have to find that. For when I go to look through that. New Battleground. Deep Hall Ravine. Professions. New recipes and enchantments. Updated NPC work orders. UI updates. Improved quest icons to make types of quests clearer. We look forward to hearing ongoing thoughts and feedbacks as we continue development. Please sign up for the War Within test to be part of future World of Warcraft. Dude, I'm excited. I can't wait to test this. That WoWcast was great. I'm going to have more videos about this over the coming days. I'm going to take a look at all the mounts here shortly. I'm going to look up the new hero talents and go over each one individually. I'll be posting those, as well as reacts to the other stuff as I feel it relevant. You know, I didn't get early access, so there's tons of Q&As and all those videos. Look at all these of people that got access. You know, check those out. Hopefully I get on alpha and can start getting my first impressions, you know. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.